Hello, this is going to be part 3 actually of the WTF SDK tutorial series. And we're still kind of going over the animation packages that you need to set up to create a playable character. So from the last tutorial, I was kind of working on a jump animation and I realized that the frames are actually not set up properly. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I save this project because I've kind of gone pretty far and I don't want to lose what I have so far. To save, you can open up the file menu, which is just sort of on the upper left-hand corner in your Windows environment. I believe on the Mac it's kind of on top on that weird Mac menu bar thing. So just hit that, select the Save Window Content option, and it will save basically the content that you're currently working on in your current editor. Now, you can also shortcut that by hitting the general shortcut that you use for these kind of things, Control S or Command S, I believe, in a Mac. Now, so as I said in the last tutorial, I kind of need to adjust some of these frames because I want to make sure that the leg actually doesn't leave the ground for any of these frames for jump. What ultimately happens in the actual game is that the game itself would be adjusting the position of these animation frames so that their character actually leaves the ground. And you want the code to control how high the character is instead of your animations. So what I want to do is to make sure that all these frames here are lined up on the floor level. And to do that, I kind of want to remove that body area from distracting my sight. So I'm going to toggle out the visibility, which is kind of here over on the left side on the current target panel, and change the current target to image adjustment, which is going to change the properties of the frame that I'm working on, in particular the frame that I selected. So what I want to do, so here is the sort of the origin point of all the animation frames, and like I said, you want to aim it so that all the legs line up at the bottom of the frame. So I'm kind of go into each individual frame here and just kind of move the Y position down to make sure that they all line up. Here, move it down, here, move it down. Alright, so now when I play the animation, it kind of stays in place instead of actually moving the character upwards. It's just sort of something that you have to get used to when working with specific animations. So we have to jump and land now. Let's just kind of run quickly and finish the required animation so that we can get this thing tested. The next one that we're going to work on is the attack animation. So if you've been wondering, all these ones that we've worked on, if you check the type, it's actually type normal, which means that all you have to do is set up, the first and last frame, and the animation basically plays itself. Now for attack, we have this specific animation type called melee, which you need to excuse me. There's an extra target that you need to set up for called impact area. Now, first, I still need to kind of go back and do all the things that I need to set up for a normal animation, which means that I should probably hunt down the frames that I need to use for the attack. I believe I actually start with that. So I think that's the cast animation. Yeah, that's the cast animation. So basically it starts from frame 0 to 9. So you play through that. Also, if you haven't noticed, I toggle off the loop option in the animation preview, so I can, well, you can turn it back on, but it's, you know, you would see the animation looping over and over, as opposed to being able to just kind of play through it once. Now the next thing that I want to set up is sort of the, what's called the impact area of the attack. Oh, actually before that, let's make sure that all the other basic properties are set up right. So the first thing that I need to do is, like before, is to adjust the body area. I've toggled the visibility back on so I can see the bounding box for the body area. And you know, this animation gets a little bit tricky since I kind of want to include, say, frames like this one where the hand's kind of a little out of place. So you just kind of have to gauge it, but probably want to move that box a little bit to the left. So I'm going to adjust the X position. Got a little out of bounds there, but I think that's going to be okay. So now the next thing that I want to adjust is the frame for the impact, also called the impact frames. Basically what happens is when you do an attack, you don't actually want, say, to say I'm able to actually hit people when I'm just winding up the attack. What I want to set is specifically, say, you know, maybe the frame here and there that kind of indicates, you know, the character actually landing a hit on somebody. So let's say 4 and 5, that looks kind of right. Which means I want to set the impact first frame to 4, and it will automatically set the last frame to 5 because at least 2 frames are required for the impact frames. So the next thing that I want to set is the impact area, which is, if you play through the animation, it's actually only visible when you are looking at the impact frames. So if you look at the frame control, the impact frames are slightly reddish. And so what I want to do is go to the current target panel, change my current target to impact area. It's kind of 0, with height, which is why it's only a dot in the beginning. What I want to do is kind of give it some width and height. So, and as you can see, the character is facing left, so I want to adjust the oh, by the way, all the characters that you set up, you kind of want them to be facing left. So, just a side note. It's actually, it might be a bit too much, like 80, 85. Now, I also want to move the area kind of left so that the character can actually hit things that are a little bit out of the fits way, but sort of imply that the character can hit those areas. So that's the attack animation. I kind of play through it quickly. You can see the impact area blink for a second there, and that's the exact moment when our character would land a hit if he hit something. I'm going to save that just in case. So in the next tutorial, I'm going to actually finish off the last animation, which is the ready cast animation, and then we'll probably do a quick and dirty rundown of the player character creation process, and then we can actually get to see all these animations up and running in the game itself.